Hi everyone again. Thank you for joining me for another story from the Bible. Today I'm going to read about Moses. But first, who's all here with me today? Let me see who I can pick out in computer land. I see Adam and Abigail and Faith and Miss Vi. Of course, I see you, and I see Ada. Who else is out there? Oh, there's Evan and Gabriel and Nathan and Hunter. And oh, there's Gideon and Leah and Creed. And of course, we cannot forget Nathan. Welcome to Bible Story Time Corner. Moses. 400 years after Joseph died, a new Pharaoh ruled Egypt. He was cruel to the Israelites because he feared they would become too powerful. He made slaves of the Israelites who suffered under the hands of the taskmasters. Pharaoh also ordered that all newborn Hebrew boys be put to death. A Hebrew mother made a basket of reeds where she hid her newborn baby boy. She floated the basket on the Nile River and told her daughter Miriam to watch over it. Pharaoh's daughter was bathing at the river's edge when she noticed the basket floating in the bulrushes. He must be a Hebrew baby, she thought. I will raise him and call him Moses. Now Moses, that word means drawn from the water. So that was a very fitting name, wasn't it? Time passed, and Moses saw how painfully the Hebrews lived under Pharaoh. One day he saw an Egyptian whip a Hebrew to death. Enraged, Moses killed the Egyptian. Moses fled to the land of Midian. In Midian, Moses rested by a well. Suddenly, 7 daughters of a priest came to the well to draw water for their sheep and goats. Soon shepherds came to drive them away, but Moses rescued them. The daughters brought Moses home to help them tend their flocks. One day, Moses came upon a flaming bush, but he noticed that despite the flames, the bush wasn't really burning. Suddenly, Moses heard the voice of God. "Moses, Moses." "Here I am," he answered. "I know how cruelly my people are suffering in Egypt. I shall deliver them and bring them to a rich and fertile land. Go to the king of Egypt and rescue the Israelites." "Lord God," pleaded Moses, "please send someone else." Moses, he was a stutterer, and he didn't feel he could do the job. But God knows which man to send, doesn't he? And this is what God told Moses. "Your brother Aaron will soon meet you. Go to Pharaoh together, and Aaron will speak for you." So Moses and Aaron went to Egypt and told Pharaoh, "The Lord God of Israel says, 'Let my people go.'" "And who is this Lord God?" demanded Pharaoh. "Why should I do as he says? I won't let the Israelites go." Pharaoh ordered the Egyptian slave drivers to stop giving the Israelites straw to make bricks. "Make them find the straw themselves," he ordered, and the slaves were beaten if they didn't make the bricks. God told Moses to go to Pharaoh again and to warn him that terrible things would happen in Egypt if the Israelites were not freed. "And if Pharaoh wants you to prove yourself, tell Aaron to throw down his rod and it will become a snake." Pharaoh called over his wise men and magicians, and they magically turned their rods into snakes too. But Aaron's rod devoured theirs. Pharaoh still refused to listen to God's commands. "Pharaoh is very stubborn," God said to Moses. "You must warn him that there will be many plagues if he does not listen. Go and meet him by the river and take your rod, then strike the water with it." Moses struck the water, and it turned to blood. Pharaoh still would not let the Israelites go. So the plagues continued. Frogs, gnats, wild beasts, cattle disease, boils, hail, and locusts. Then God sent a great darkness over Egypt that lasted for 3 days and nights. Then Moses told Pharaoh of the final plague. The firstborn of all Egyptians will die. Throughout the night there was a great cry in every Egyptian house, but the plague passed over the houses of the Hebrews. Finally, Pharaoh called for Moses and Aaron. "Rise up and leave this land, you and all the children of Israel. You are free to go." So all the Israelites packed their possessions and began to flee from Egypt. Pharaoh's heart was hardened as he watched the slaves leave for freedom. He changed his mind and sent chariots after them. As the children of Israel entered the Red Sea, the waters opened and became walls on either side, allowing them to cross dry land. The Egyptians followed them in the midst of the sea. When the Israelites reached the other side, Moses stretched out his hand, and the sea returned, swallowing up the Egyptians. Moses led the children of Israel through the wilderness on their way to Mount Sinai. God protected them and gave them water and a special food called manna. Moses went up to the Mount Sinai for 40 days and 40 nights to receive the 10 Commandments. But when he returned, he found the Israelites worshiping a golden calf. In rage, he smashed the tablets to bits. For a second time, Moses ascended the mountain, and when he came down, his face shone. The people of Israel accepted the 10 Commandments. God delivered the Israelites into the Promised Land and blessed them. What lessons did you learn today from this story? We know if we are obedient to God and we do what He tells us to do, that no matter what obstacle we have, and that was a big obstacle, wasn't it? They're fleeing from the Egyptians, and now they're right in the path of the sea, the Red Sea, that they can't even cross over. But it just shows that if we're obedient and do what God says, that He removes our obstacles and takes us over into dry land. And by all means, we should only worship God. There's only one God to worship. Don't let anything become between you and God that you worship. It should only be Him. Okay, join me next time, when I'm sure we'll have another exciting story from the Bible. Bye.